Yo, what is up, everybody? Blind Metal Gamer here with you on this slamming Saturday morning, and it's time for another video game accessibility discussion. We are going to be discussing the Switch 2. We're here. We're going to. Hi, it's Blind Metal Gamer here. We are live. We're going to be talking about Nintendo Switch 2. So I went to cannotplaythat.com.
The accessibility patent, a leak free look at the Nintendo Switch 2.
Alright, a leak free look at the Nintendo Switch 2. We're going to look at it right now. This shouldn't be too long, so
a leak free look at the Nintendo Switch 2.
as we all know, the Switch 2 has been leaked, and they revealed it last week, they being Nintendo. And I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of go over the article from cannotplaythat.com. And I wanted to then after I read the article to you, I'm going to give some thoughts on how the Switch 2 could be made accessible, and we can all talk about it in the comments section. So, we're going to get started.
Share on Bluesky. January marriage / 3-minute content.
Here we go.
Screen and size. In page link. Joy-Cons. In backwards compatible. Now that Nintendo finally let us have a real first look at the Switch 2, can it tell us something about its accessibility? In page link.
Now, this seems interesting because if this thing is going to be accessible, they need to do it right. Again, we'll talk about that at the end of the stream, but we're going to go over the article first, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts. Here we go.
Maybe a little. There are some easily visible differences between the Switch 2 and its predecessor, so let's have a closer look. Keep in mind that we go purely by what Nintendo showed in the trailer, not any of the many leaks and rumors. Play video Nintendo. The Nintendo screen and size. Heading level.
Alright, we're going to start off by screen and size. We're not playing any videos. So, screen and size, here we go.
First of all, the screen. It's slightly bigger, and by that it will automatically have more potential for people with low vision. In page link.
Okay, a bigger screen, although this probably wouldn't do good for me because I'm not a handheld gamer. For those that will be able to use the handheld, the Switch 2, that'll be awesome. The screen being bigger would be amazing in terms of low vision accessibility because it means it would be easier for them to see.
The kickstand seems as wide as the kickstand for the Switch OLED. This kickstand was already an improvement over the original, but the Switch 2 kickstand seems more elegant and supports positioning the Switch 2 at more angles. The larger size of the screen and device overall likely does mean it will be a bit heavier. That can pose a problem for people with limited strength or stamina. In page link.
Now, as far as the kickstand, yeah, if it is heavier, it's going to be a harder thing for people with limited strength and stamina to carry, so you might need assistance with that. Again, we won't know anything until April 2nd, until the Nintendo Direct comes along. So, there is that. Moving on.
In their hands and arms to play handheld. Joy-Cons. Heading level 2.
Alright, now we're moving on to Joy-Cons.
There are a few interesting things to note about the Switch 2's Joy-Cons. First of all, the size. The Joy-Cons grew up. and by being a bit bigger, they're likely somewhat easier to hold for many people. The new magnetic attach and release mechanism may also be a more ergonomic design, depending on how much strength the release trigger requires. It's likely less prone to wear and tear than the slides on the original Switch.
All right.
The buttons seem to have grown a little as well, but not much. The SL and SR buttons on the inside of the Joy-Cons are much larger, however, which should make these much easier to operate. The
All right.
bumpers and triggers on the rear also seem to be much bigger, and likely easier to press and hold. Overall, the size changes seem to be mostly beneficial.
Now that's cool. Um,
These last two aspects of the Joy-Cons are a bit more speculative. First of which are the thumbsticks. The trailer makes a point of showing these up close and moving smoothly, which could indicate a switch to Hall effect joysticks. This type of joystick tends to be smoother, more durable, and most importantly, less susceptible to drift. Considering the issues original Switch Joy-Con sticks had, it's likely Nintendo opted to go for a better option. In-page link, here.
Now that's good. If the sticks are Hall effect and they will uh, be less susceptible to drifting, that's a good thing. A very good thing.
Lastly, we have something that looks like an optical sensor on the side of each Joy-Con. The trailer also shows the Joy-Con skating across a surface with a gliding attachment, indicating that this sensor may enable the Joy-Con to work as a mouse. If this is the case, depending on its use, it could prove useful for some players, but detrimental to others. Either way, it is interesting. Not backwards compatibility, heading level 2.
All right. Now backwards compatibility. Here we go.
Of course, the trailer confirms both digital and physical Switch games are compatible with Switch 2. It also notes some titles may not be compatible, and we assume these are likely titles like Labo, which depend heavily.
Hold on.
Lastly, we have something that looks like an optical set backwards. Of course, the trailer confirms both digital and physical Switch games are compatible with Switch 2. It also notes some titles may not be compatible, and we assume these are likely titles like Labo, which depend heavily on the current Joy-Cons. One of the things we would like to know is if and how much the backwards compatibility applies to peripherals like the Doriflex, Link, and 8-bit Dualite SE, Link, as this could impact the accessibility of the Switch 2 from launch. If these are also supported, players with adaptive setups should be able to make the Switch without much trouble.
Now they need to support those third-party peripherals because that's going to help not only as far as accessibility, but from a money standpoint as well. If they're also compatible, that will mean the consumer will not have to spend more money on more peripherals to make it accessible.
Separator. Overall, it looks like a positive upgrade over the original Switch, with at least some more accessibility potential. We expect to learn much more starting April 2nd, when there will be a Nintendo Direct about the new Switch 2. More news. Toolbar. Tabs. Elite free close. Favorites. Apps for close for closing dock. 1128 voiceover.
All right, so now I've pretty much went over the article on canIPlayThat.com. And now I want to talk about my thoughts and views because I'm not a Nintendo guy normally, okay? Hey, Ron, what is up, my man? 2K25. I'm ready, but I've got to see how it's going to do as far as accessibility first. Today, I wanted to talk about the Switch 2 since it got revealed and give my thoughts on what it could have as far as accessibility. I just went over the canIPlayThat.com article, so I did that. Hey, Ron, as far as Penta's debut, that was pretty dope. That was pretty awesome. I hope they use him. They need to get his brother Ray Phoenix in there too, man, to get the Lucha Bros back together. That would be awesome. All right, so yeah, now we talked about as far as okay, as far as the Switch 2, as far as accessibility. Based on the article, they didn't say anything about a screen reader or blind accessibility specifics. So that's something we're going to have to watch the Nintendo Direct for, or in my case, I might go over it after they have the Direct on the second, because I might be doing IRL stuff. So there's that. Um, as far as um, things I would want to see in the Switch 2, as far as accessibility, I would love for that thing to have full screen reader support. I'm talking full on, baked in, just like PS5. You mean Jacob Fatu's brother? You mean Jacob Fatu? Yeah, we do. But as far as screen reader, it needs to be baked into the console, and I know this is I say this every time when it comes to PlayStation, but they need to include the code for the developers to let them code it into their games. Each developer needs to find a way to get that screen reader code so they can put it in their games to make their game screen reader compatible. I mean, come on. Nintendo to this day has no blind accessibility. That's why I can't support them. I'm not saying I'm going to run out and buy a Switch 2. Oh my God, it's going to be the greatest thing. Oh my God, I'm getting a Switch 2. Nope. Because I probably will not want to get something like that until I know for a fact it's accessible. Because we don't know the pricing, we don't know the specs, we don't know the what it's going to be like. We're going to find out on April 2nd. Zilla. Yeah, we do need Zillify too. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do need Zillify too. So yeah, as far as Switch 2 goes, yeah, we there needs to be screen reader, full on screen reader support from the beginning. Each game they need to make each they being in Nintendo, if they're going to develop their games in house, they need to leverage the Nintendo Switch's 2's accessibility, make the games all screen reader compatible, and start really waking up as far as accessibility because that's why I never wanted to buy a Switch because what are we going to get as far as accessibility for blind players? We're not. And then another thing I want to speculate on briefly is content creation. Now, I know that this is a pretty heavy topic for um, we need as far as content creation. Here's another reason why I didn't support Nintendo. You couldn't stream directly from their console to your YouTube or Twitch. There was no way because they were opposed to it. Now, with it being 2025 and we're going to get the Switch 2, I'm going to speculate and I'm just going to call it. I predict we're either going to get the Switch 2 either holiday 2025 or early 2026, maybe March 2026. So either fall 2025, so like October or November, or spring 2026, March of 2026. So those are my predictions for the release. Now, as far as back to content creation, one thing I'm hoping that they will do for content creation for this thing is give us gamers and content creators the ability to stream directly from the console to either YouTube or Twitch. That way, content creators and streamers can stream playthroughs of their favorite Nintendo games and not have to worry about getting a copyright strike or a copyright takedown. Come on, Nintendo, it's 2025. For God's sake, come on. I mean, yeah, come on, guys. It's 2025. And then okay, as far as the accessibility goes. Like I said, as far as sorry guys, as far as accessibility, the buttons on this thing, they need to be tactile. Whatever the buttons are going to be, have like a raised tactile indicator for each button, like whatever, like A, B, Y, X, or whatever. Have a tactile letter similar to Braille to make it accessible and make it baked in out of the box where we don't have to pay for it. Let us just get it out of the box and enjoy it. So we've talked screen reader, we've talked tactile controller, we've talked content creation. One other thing they could do as far as low vision gamers or gamers who are colorblind, background opacity for the menus, and color customization for the text and size customization for the text. So allow users to increase or decrease the text size to their needs, and whatever color suits their needs, let them switch the text to that particular color. That way, they can have what color suits them best. If you need a black background with yellow text, that's what you can have. Or if you need a black background with white text, that's what you get. But you get the idea. Give consumers more options in terms of color accessibility and background opacity and text size. So we just get a screen reader, text size, text color, background opacity, content creation, and tactile buttons for the controller. That's, I think, is going to be about it for this stream as far as so. So all right, so I think I'm going to end this a bit early because I pretty much discussed everything. Oh yes, one thing I do want to point out: if Nintendo actually makes this thing blind accessible, I'm not counting on it, but if they do, if they're going to develop their games in house, be sure to leverage all the accessibility features that I had mentioned. Nintendo, come on! There's no excuse. It's 2025. Then for third parties like Konami, NetherRealm, and all that, give them the screen reader code as well so they can make their games. Let's say they ported, they being NetherRealm, let's say as an example, they ported Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns to the Switch 2. Okay? It gets a big port. Let's say they wanted to increase the accessibility of it. To my knowledge, and I could be wrong, the Nintendo Switch 2, or the Nintendo Switch version does not have a screen reader. If they would give NetherRealm the Switch 2 screen reader code in this hypothetical situation, they could make that accessible for blind players. So what I'm saying is, Nintendo, this is me just at this point asking you. Okay, I know you've not revealed, you've pretty much not even done the review yet. I'm aware of that. I'm just asking you to consider blind and low vision players for this machine because you're going to draw in a lot of customers by doing that. So with that being said, this has been my brief discussion on the Nintendo Switch 2 as far as what it could be for accessibility for gamers without sight. So with that being said, if you like what you see and you want more, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you won't miss a single stream or video. I do not only discussion streams, but I do the Blindside podcast. I do the live video game streams from the PS5 as well. So with that being said, until next time, so long everyone, and peace out.